In the last video, we have seen what a capacitor is. So if I take two metal plates, this is the first plate and this is the second plate, and connect those two plates to a battery like this one, the positive terminal of the battery will attract electrons and it will suck electrons from this plate, leaving a net positive charge on this plate. The negative terminal of the battery will repel electrons and those electrons would get accumulated on this plate. This is how a capacitor stores charge, right? And so we've also looked at the expression capacitance equals the charge stored divided by the potential difference or the voltage of the battery. And if I have a larger battery, I'll have with a higher voltage, I'll have more charge stored. And if I have a smaller battery with a lesser voltage, with a low voltage, I'll have lesser charge stored, right? In this video, we'll be having a look at the various factors upon which this capacitance, which is constant for a given capacitor, depends. So first of all, to start off with, let me remove this expression. So remember the expression for the electric field of an infinitely long uniformly charged plate. So if I have a uniformly charged plate which is infinite in both directions, right? So its electric field would be uniform, which means it won't depend on the distance, and it will be given by this expression, which is electric field equals sigma surface charge density divided by 2 epsilon naught. Perfect. So what I'll be doing is I'll be using this expression for these two plates, and obviously these two plates are not infinitely long, so there is some approximation, but this approximation holds good for many cases. So yeah, let's use it. So I hope you remember that because the electric field is uniform and there is no variable here for distance, it means that this electric field does not depend on the distance from the plate, right? So first of all, let us look at let us analyze the electric field due to both the plates. So we have three regions: this region outside the plate, this region inside the two plates, between the two plates, and again this region outside the capacitor, outside the two plates. So I'll use this red marker to represent the electric field due to this plate here. So obviously, because this is positively charged, the electric field will be pointing away from it. Even in this region it will be pointing away, and even here it's pointing away. And now if I look at the electric field due to the other plate, which is this negatively charged plate, because it is negatively charged, the electric field will be pointing towards the plate. So it will be pointing towards the plate like this here. It will be pointing towards the plate even in this region, and again it will be pointing towards the plate in this region. Now, as we know, the electric field does not depend on the distance from the plate. The electric field is same everywhere, right? Now here we can observe in this region that the two electric fields due to the two plates is they are pointing in different directions, they're acting in different directions, so they cancel out each other in this region. So I can just remove it. I'll use a duster to remove that. I'll just remove this from here because they cancel out perfectly, right? Even in this region, they are pointing in different directions, opposite directions, and because they're same, because they're uniform, they'll cancel out each other, just like that. And what we're left with is that, so what we can infer from this is that outside a capacitor we have no electric field, and the electric field only exists inside the capacitor. Obviously, because this is not an infinitely long parallel plate, at the edges of the capacitor the electric field will be slightly bent, will slightly curve in this way, and that is called fringing. But yeah, I won't get into too much detail, and we'll just focus on the central part of the capacitor. So obviously we have the two electric fields pointing the same direction, and therefore I can simply add those two electric fields to get the net electric field inside the capacitor. This expression gives me the electric field due to one plate. To get the electric field inside this capacitor, I need to add the electric field due to the first plate plus the electric field due to the second plate. So if I add these two expressions, what I get is the electric field equals 2 sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. The 2 cancel. We are left with sigma upon epsilon naught, and that is the electric field between the two plates. Right? Simple. Now I hope you remember that if we multiply the electric field with the distance, we get the potential difference. If you don't remember that relation, I'll quickly give you an explanation for that. If I have a small charge here, this is a small charge Q here, test charge, and I wish to take it from this end to that end across this potential difference, because there's an electric field here, I need to do some work, right? Now, or rather, let's say I'm taking, it's a positive charge and I have to take it to this position. I have to move it against the electric field, so I'll have to do some work. That work will be equal to force times distance, right? But what is force? Well, we remember electric field equals force divided by Q, force per unit charge. And if I quickly just shift this Q from this side to the other side, what I get is EQ equals F. So I'll replace the F in this expression with E times Q, right? Simple as that. And now what I get is work done equals electric field times charge, the charge on the small charge, times the distance where the charge has to be taken. Now if we simply take this Q from that side to this side, I'm just shifting it, what you get is the work per unit charge equals ED. What is work per unit charge? Well, if you remember, the work per unit charge is simply the potential difference or the voltage. So the potential difference or the voltage, the potential difference between the two plates, or the voltage of the battery, because they are same in this case. So the potential difference across these two plates is simply ED. So we know what E is. E is sigma upon epsilon naught. So what I can write is V equals E is sigma upon epsilon naught, sigma upon epsilon naught times D. So now we've got the expression for the potential difference between these two plates. Simple. Right? Now what I can do is I'll just remove this part to avoid confusion and keep things clear. Let me just remove this part also. Right? So this is the final expression that I'm left with. Now what is sigma? Sigma is the surface charge density, or rather sigma is the charge per unit area, or charge divided by the area of the plate. So let me take this expression and put it here. So what I get is I'll just write that here. So the potential difference equals, instead of writing sigma, I can write Q upon A times D upon epsilon naught. Simple, right? So this is the expression that I get. Now I can simply take my Q on the other side. I'll just do that. Wait, let me keep on removing the previous steps. If you wish to note, you can pause it before I rub. So I'm just taking this Q from this side. I'll remove it from here and take it on that side. So what I get is V upon Q equals this thing, D upon A into epsilon naught. Now I'll quickly just take the reciprocal of both the sides, and I'll tell you in a moment why I'm doing that. I'll write that here due to lack of space. So Q upon V, I'm just taking the reciprocal of both the sides. I get A epsilon naught upon D. Simple? Yeah. And now if you remember, what is Q upon V? Well, if you remember from the last video, C equals Q upon V. So Q upon V is nothing but the capacitance, right? Q upon V is simply the capacitance. So this expression here is for the capacitance, right? So I can simply write capacitance, because Q upon V equals this, and Q upon V is capacitance. So capacitance equals A epsilon naught upon D. As simple as that. So we finally found the expression for the capacitance, and this expression here tells me that the capacitance of a given capacitor depends on three things actually: epsilon naught, A, and D. What is A? Let's just focus on this equation here for a moment and analyze what this equation is trying to tell us. Let's remove everything else. And so if we look at this expression, this tells us that it depends on A. First of all, A is the area. So if I increase the area, the capacitance goes up, the capacitance increases, which simply means, which is very obvious, if I have a larger plate with a larger area, I'll have more capacitance, because I'll have more space or more area for the charge to be stored, right? Simple. So the capacitance or the capacity to store charge for given potential difference will increase. Then it also depends on the distance. Well, that is not so easy to understand, but the basic idea to understand that is that if I increase the distance, the work I have to do to take a charge from this plate to that plate will obviously increase, right? Because I'll have to travel it, the charge will have to travel a larger distance. So the distance, if the distance increases, I'll have to do more work, and so the capacitance actually drops, because if I have to do more work, I will be able to store lesser charge for the same potential difference. So that also makes now sense, I hope. Finally, what is this epsilon naught? Well, epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. So in this particular case, I have vacuum, or I have nothing between the two plates for now. In the next videos, we'll be seeing what happens if I have something else between the two plates. But for now, we have vacuum between the two plates, and this is the permittivity of free space or permittivity of vacuum. What is permittivity? So the basic idea of permittivity is that permittivity simply tells us how easily can the electric field penetrate through a given substance. So we'll be looking at this value in more detail in the coming videos, but the basic idea of permittivity is how easily can electric fields travel through a given medium. So if it is space, so if the electric field can travel easily, the capacitance goes up, and if it cannot travel so easily, the capacitance will reduce. So that is the basic idea: permittivity of free space, which has a value of around 8.85 into 10 raised to power minus 12. I am not sure about the units, but yeah, that is the basic idea behind it, and we'll be looking at it in more detail. Lastly, if I have a capacitor with 1 unit of area, 1 meter square of area, and the separation between the two plates is 1 meter, that such a capacitor will have a capacitance of 1 farad. So that is the unit of capacitance, 1 farad, named after the scientist Faraday, I believe, and that is a unit of capacitance, but it is a pretty large unit, and so you'll be generally using microfarads, millifarads, and small units. So that's it for this video, and in this video you've learned on the three factors upon which capacitance or the ability to store charge depends.